Hi, my name is Coach Judith, and I am going to be walking you through today's episode of Quarantine Coding Club. For those of you who haven't joined us before, just want to give you a little background about me and about what we're going to be doing. My name is, as I said, Coach Judith, and I have been running these Coding Club episodes now for a couple of weeks while we in San Diego and all over the world, people are stuck in their homes and transitioning to doing a lot of things online that we never used to do. So this episode, we will be watching a video that my coworker Stephen made. And as we're watching it, I'll be commenting about it throughout in the hopes that I can give you a little bit of my insights as well. So here goes.
In the last episode, I showed you how a fork in the road can be addressed by thinking through each possibility as thoroughly as possible.
All right, so this is episode number 11, and what Stephen is referring to is episode number 10. He was trying to figure out a way to make a decision about what he could do as a coder that would be better for the world. And he had two different things that he was working on. One was creating these videos, and he thought maybe he could speed up his creation time to make these videos that will help educate people about coding. And the other was, which is what he had been doing, the other was maybe he could create a Facebook group that connected people in his area, and that would help people get connected when they're still stuck in their houses, but he would use his experience and skills as a coder. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And then he talked about how to make that decision about what he should spend his time doing. So that was just a little preview from last episode.
For me, the choice was between building faster pipelines and building a value funnel to help connect people online in the area where I live. After sleeping on the matter, I decided to build that value funnel.
All right. So one of the things that I think Stephen mentioned in the last episode, and I'm going to reiterate here, is in order to stay healthy, it's important that we eat well, that we exercise, but also that we get some sleep. That also helps us make decisions. So one of the things we previously talked about was creating a cost-benefit analysis where you are trying to make a decision and you figure out what are the costs of each two or three things you're considering and what are the benefits. And then the final thing Stephen recommended was when you've written all those things down on paper, go to sleep. And maybe when you wake up in the morning, you will have an idea of what you want to do.
So this episode will have 5 parts. If I had to name them, I'd pick funnel, Facebook, website, scan, and scale. We're
Okay, so the last few episodes, Stephen has been creating 5-minute videos, and each minute of them is a different section. We are at the 32-second mark of the 5-minute video. So we're in the first minute, which is what he's calling funnel, which is this creation of this Facebook website that he's referring to and thinking about the sales cycle to get through that. Then we, on the second minute, we're going to go to this Facebook, we'll discuss for a minute, websites, scan, etc.
here right now in the funnel minute. Then we'll go through the funnel in reverse order because that's the order I built it. In the Facebook minute, I'll show you my group and how I designed it.
So I don't know if you caught that. That was kind of interesting to me. He said he designed in reverse. So he talked in our previous episode about having a sales cycle where he would create a QR code and put that on a flyer, post the flyers. The QR code would send people to a website, which would then invite them to join a Facebook group. But now he's saying he created the Facebook group first. He did it in reverse. Why do you think he did it in reverse? He went from the Facebook group to the website to the flyer with the QR code scan. That's interesting to me that he did it backwards from the way it's going to be used.
In the website minute, I'll show you my code for the mobile-friendly website and how it links to the Facebook group. In the scan minute, I'll show you the flyer I designed and printed and how I link from the paper to the website. Then in scale, I'll tell you what I'm planning to do next.
All right, that was our very first minute of the 5 minute video. We are now heading to the Facebook minute. I'm sure many of you have Facebook pages, but we're going to hear a little bit about creating a Facebook group, which is what Stephen is doing to help his local community.
Making a new Facebook group is easy, but picking the perfect name is hard. I decided to pick a name that describes the group's mission in as few words as possible.
Okay, so I think that's always the case. Sometimes you have great ideas, but then you have to give them a name. And even if your idea is amazing, if you don't give it a good name, then people are not going to be drawn to it. So even if you're excellent at coding, excellent at being an engineer, sometimes it's the marketing aspects that are just as important. In this case, Stephen wanted to have a Facebook group that would draw people in and make people excited to want to be part of it. And here were some of his ideas. Stay connected, Tierra Santa. Tierra Santa, for those of you who are not from San Diego, is a neighborhood in San Diego. It actually is where the neighborhood Stephen lives in. The second one, COVID-19 sucks. I think we're all kind of feeling that right now. Coding versus COVID-19. That was something that he was thinking about, how we can use coding to overcome the challenges that we're facing during this coronavirus epidemic. And also, everything Stephen does is in code. So when he was trying to come up with what are his ideas, he was writing them here in code. Let's see what else he is going to tell us about.
Tierra Santa versus COVID-19. This is a naming convention that hundreds of other Facebook groups have adopted, and
Okay, so a naming convention. So that's something that a lot of people are thinking about names, and many of them have sort of circled in on doing something that is similar. And so here he's showing you nurses versus COVID-19. This is even another language that I don't recognize. ARZTE versus COVID-19. Gastronomen versus COVID-19. So a lot of people are using this versus COVID-19 and sometimes being seeing what's common, what other people are looking to will be a good inspiration and also give your idea maybe a little bit of legitimacy. It seems similar to something else that's already out there. So I guess that's the one that Stephen picked, Tierra Santa, which is again that neighborhood in San Diego versus COVID-19.
I felt it would resonate with the people in my community. I invited everyone I knew in the area, and to be honest, a few people who don't live in the area.
Okay, so those of you who maybe think something went wrong with your eyes, Stephen is intentionally blurring the video here because he doesn't want you to see all the Facebook information about his Facebook friends. And I think that's a really important lesson, especially for those of you who are new to social media or using a computer as much as we are all doing now. Privacy is an issue that we really should consider when you are looking at something on your screen and maybe you share it in a Zoom meeting. So maybe you're sharing somebody else's personal information. It's one thing for you to decide if you are an adult how much you want to share about yourselves, but you should also consider how much you're sharing about your friends and your family. In this case, Stephen didn't want to share information about his mother out here on this video that's out on YouTube, which I think is the appropriate thing to do. So he is blurring it so you cannot see the personal information.
Like my mom. I wanted anyone who was considering joining the group to see that there were already members.
Okay, wait, I just want to show you a little bit right here. What Stephen has here at the bottom of this Facebook screen, he is inspecting the page, which is something that we showed in one of our previous episodes of Quarantine Coding Club. Anybody can do this. You right click and you go to inspect on any page on the internet, and then you can make changes that appear on the web page right as you're looking at it. But they don't last. So if you refresh that page, they're gone. So one thing I noticed that he did was he changed the name of this person. It says name changed. So that's not the person's name, but he changed it here in the inspect. So again, for privacy, so that you cannot see the name of the person that's part of this Facebook group, unless you're actually on Facebook and in the group. So here on this video, we cannot see who this person is. It says name changed.
Considering joining the group to see that there were already members. Within moments, people were already discussing matters related to COVID-19, like
So did you catch that what Stephen said? People like to join things that there are already people in. I think that is very fascinating. Nobody wants to be the first person. Nobody wants to sit in the front row of a classroom or be the first person in the door. They want to know that there are other people that are sort of vouching for it. So Stephen invited his friends and family, like his mother, who don't even live in the area, to join this group. So there would be people in the group, and other people would say, oh, well, this must be real because there are other people already in the group.
the number of currently active cases in our zip code, 13, and the status of the grocery stores in the area. This encouraged me to continue building the value funnel, so I put up a picture of a local landmark.
All right. So, because there were people right away that were already interested in the website, in the Facebook page, that was encouraging to him. He put up that picture of, it says Tierra Santa. That's the name of the neighborhood. So that is the Facebook page. So now I think we're going to go on to the next minute, which is how he designed his website. Here goes.
And I moved on to building the website. I wanted the website to be clean and to the point. To get the right look and feel, I used Bootstrap.
Okay, so he used Bootstrap. I just want to show you. Bootstrap is a website, a software package that you can get. It is open source, meaning that you can download it and use it and change it. And it will help you develop HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These are all things that you need in order to create a website. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's this Bootstrap.
Collection of CSS rules and user interface conventions for building mobile-friendly websites. I designed 2 calls to action, one short, the other long. The shorter call to action just says, please click below to join the group. The longer one is a personal message. It explains that I'm a member of the community and that I'm trying to help connect people.
2 different calls to action. So a call to action is something that you might say to others around you, and you can do it through electronic means, through an email, through a text message. You can put up flyers. If you are someone in politics, you might have a press release and have members of the press report on you saying it's a call to action. It's time for the nation to step up, or for the state to step up and follow the guidelines that the governor or the president are telling us to do. So call to action. So Stephen had 2 calls to action, a very short one that just was like, click here. And then the second one where he appealed to people that he knew personally. What do you think works better? Is it better to have a short call to action, just, hey, go do it, or a lot more words, things to get to people's emotions and endear them to your cause, but they have to read through? What's a better way to do a call to action?
I mentioned that I'm a coder and I have a PhD. This is not to brag. It's intended to communicate that this is a group of educated people.
Okay, so I think it's important that he said here, he's not trying to brag. Stephen is highly educated. He's an intelligent person, but sometimes you don't want to be off-putting in the way that somebody that maybe doesn't know you quite as well would say, oh, I'm not going to follow that person because he thinks so highly of himself. It's not that that Stephen was trying to brag. And I think that's a really clever thing, that he doesn't want to come off that way. He wants people to be responsive to him. He wants to be charismatic. He wants to be a leader, but not to the point where people don't like him because he's bragging.
Capable of building real solutions. Then I put my code on GitHub so that others can use it if they want to.
GitHub is something that has come up in several of our videos here. GitHub is a place that people that write software store their software, and that makes it available to other people. There are several reasons that you'd want to use GitHub. One, just if you want to store your software so you don't lose it, but if you want to work with other coders, which is really important that you work in a team, that people work together. Sometimes you might have an idea and not know how to fix something. You want to have other people helping you out. GitHub allows multiple people to look at the same software, even to change the software to help each other with problems, to help with solutions. And it makes sure that all of the different changes are able to be in the same pieces of software. Most coders these days, I think, are using something like a GitHub repository. Stephen is using one here, and that's where he has his code stored.
You'll notice that the code is written in a high-level language, but it compiles to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, those same words that we saw before on Bootstrap. The code that he has written, I believe he's written in a language called Racket, and then it creates these other files that can be used to create websites.
I configured GitHub to serve the code, and it saves me time because I don't have to host the site myself.
All right, so everything that Stephen is working on here and in some of our previous episodes is about being efficient. We want to try to create things as quickly as possible because the COVID-19 epidemic or pandemic is spreading so fast that being fast to respond is super important.
With the website online,
Oh, that is the end. It is the end of our 3rd minute, and that is also going to conclude my response to this video. There will be a 2nd video where I discuss the 4th and 5th minutes of the 5-minute video. Thanks for joining.